Hey guys, and welcome back. I am Artosis, and with me is Wolf.
Hey guys, I'm glad to be back with Artosis. I'm sitting in the tasteless seat right now. He's in severe pain. Hope
He's
he feels
in
better.
real pain, man.
Yeah.
I am worried about him.
I'm worried about him too, man. He's sitting backstage right now, actually watching the cast, and he looks like he is feeling terrible.
He is. He's in a lot of pain. It's a terrible thing. But thank you for coming, Wolf.
I just got off a plane, and on my way back,
I called him right before the cast started. He's like, oh, I'm literally standing on the plane. I just turned my phone on.
Yeah.
And he came from the airport and is saving me.
I came here to save you because I thought it would be the right thing to do. Well,
it was the right thing to do. Thank you.
Looks like Leonok will advance to the winner's match, so he's just one best of 3 of getting away from this group.
Yeah, it's him against Sulky. Sulky played really well against Life.
Yeah.
But Leonok just played really well against Symbol, who played really well against him. And by the way, Life played really well against Sulky. This day is full of good games.
Yeah, these are a bunch of great Zerg players that are going to clash against each other. This is a day I actually really wanted to see because it's so cool when you see so many Zergs together in a group. It's like, well, who is the best ZVZer? It's basically what we're about to find out.
That is true. That is very, very true. Who is the best ZVZer? Could it be Sulky? You know, Sulky was... When he was microing his lings against Life, I was like, guys, look at this. This is like what StarCraft 1 ZVZ is.
Yeah.
Because he was taking 2 lings and then crushing 2 lings with them.
That's
that actually
how it's
happened.
done, man.
That happened one time, Wolf. You missed it.
I really wish I could have seen it.
Yeah.
I've heard good things. I've been reading on Twitter while I was on the subway. I was trying to get as much information about the games as I could.
You are so professional.
That's what I try to do, man.
All right, here we go, guys. This is the winner's match. GSL, it's going to be Leonok going up against Sulky. This is the GSL Code S with Wolf and Artosis. Vegas. All right, up here in the top left, he's waiting for his first GSL championship still. He is.
FXO, Lino.
Yeah, his closest was, of course, losing to Jockji.
Who got back into Code A, by the way.
Yeah, that's really good to hear.
I'm excited.
Sosa, still hanging on there.
By a thread.
Yeah, certainly.
It seems, with their players leaving. Over here, in the bottom right, a very good Zerg that just took out our last GSL champion. He is.
웅진 스타즈 솔키.
Before I got on my plane, actually, I was looking at stats about who was predicted to get out of this group, and Sulky had some tiny percentage, like 3.5.
Oh.
And now he's here in the winner's match, taking out the GSL champion, someone who's been regarded as one of the best ZVZ players in the world. And that says something. I didn't even see the games, but that certainly says something. Like you said, taking 2 lings and crushing 2 lings.
Yeah.
That's something that you can do if you have the micro mechanics that someone from Broodwar has.
It's so true. And how do you take a life? Well, if you have the soul key, that's an easy way, right?
Yeah, that certainly is.
You take the life right out of him. You open up that soul, you take it out of the body. Bam, done.
And if you have an STX soul key, it's even easier.
That's true. STX, a very good shipping company.
Yeah.
They make great ships.
Those ships are really nice. I've taken a look at a few of those.
You guys, everyone in the world has probably bought something that was shipped on an STX-made ship.
Yeah.
That's actually true.
I hear they do tourism now as well. You can get on a STX cruise.
No way. That's awesome.
I was looking into that.
I want to do that. You want to do that with me? You want to go and cruise with me? Wolf?
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
I want to do that, man. That'd be really fun.
Yeah.
We could even bring Sulky.
Yeah, we can bring Sulky if he wins.
If he wins the GSL, he can pay for it.
That's true. He could. He'd win a lot of money.
Well, tell me what sort of builds you've been seeing from Sulky. What did he do against Life? Was he aggressive or was he more passive?
No, he was pretty defensive in that first game. I'm trying to remember the second game, but I've watched 5 ZVZs right in a row and commentated them all alone.
I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I don't remember the second game at this exact second. It'll come back to me slowly but surely. It's in there. It's somewhere in my brain. We may need Leonardo DiCaprio to enter my dreams and get it out for me, though. I'm not sure.
That would be really helpful. Right. I don't know if you can actually reach in there right now.
Well, I'm not asleep. I don't think so, at least.
We're in a dream right now.
All right. So,
well, speaking of dreams, NST got back into the GSL as well, along with Joxy recently.
yeah, the champions are coming back to.
Yeah.
I almost called you Tasteless.
That's okay. I understand today.
Yeah.
We have a Baneling Nest down for Leenock first before Speed, and that indicates he wants to be more safe because you need the Baneling Nest out a little bit faster. You can make sure you have those defensive Banelings. There's very rare cases where you want to try to aggressive Baneling your opponent with no speed, but it's very rare.
Well, you're going to do that off one base. Like, if you try to do that off two base, you get laughed out of the GSL.
Yeah, that's basically what would happen.
That's basically what would happen.
Basically.
All right, so Baneling Nest finishing up as mentioned. The speed upgrade is basically the same spot, though, so it doesn't matter all that much right now. And even though they opened up with slightly different builds here, it's basically the same thing going on.
Yeah.
It's still like a production tab where we're looking, we're like, when are they actually going to change? Like, is someone going to get the layer significantly quicker? Is someone going to throw up a Roach Warren?
Exactly.
Is someone going to get a lot of extra gas?
That's what we're waiting for, because right now, even though, like you said, the builders are different, there's two different paths to get to where we are, and that's what we've seen here.
Yeah.
A little Baneling attack here takes out the larva, and, you know, that's more significant than it may appear, actually, to kill that many. I think he killed 4 just then.
Yeah, you can't really waste larva. You got to be careful about that. You know, that's actually larva management. It's another resource.
Exactly.
I've mentioned before with Zerg. So even though he lost you know, the minerals and gas of that Baneling that used to be a Zergling.
Yes.
And the half larva of that. How many larvae does he kill off there? It's actually
it's a pretty good trade. You know,
it can be significant.
He almost got nothing. This scout is really important. He's going to get in here and see the lair, which is going to tell him that his timing for his lair is about exactly the same as his opponent, just slightly behind. And that's really important for him to know. He can also see the double gas that's going down.
And well, everything still, though, is pretty darn close. You know, we have just slightly different gas timings, as you said, Wolf. The layer's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
We do have Sulky making a little batch of Lings here, and I think that this is a preemptive batch to try to force a cancel on that third base ASAP.
Yeah, that's exactly what he wants. Any sort of early Ling group like this before the lair tech is done is just to make sure your opponent doesn't get too greedy. And again, we see Leenock actually getting that very same scout that Sulky did. A little bit later, he's wanting to desperately see what sort of lair tech it is, but it's delaying actually Sulky from planting it even.
I think he might have seen it.
Did he see that?
I have to check that. Hold on, I'm checking that. Oh, he's checking it for us anyways. So he saw the one building, the Roach Warren, and that pretty much tells us it's Infestor. Sometimes you have people get the Roach Warren this early while going mutas, but not normally.
And the biggest fear for him would be if he cancels it, even. I mean, if after the Roach Warren has been seen. Now, this is that group of Lings you were talking about. It's going to do exactly the purpose it wants. It's going to cancel that hatchery. There's no defensive Banelings nearby.
Very well done there. And in fact, with how many Banelings he saw being made when his Zerglings were in the base, I'm surprised he had nothing down there, to be honest.
Those are some good Baneling hits for Sulky as well.
Those were pretty nice. In fact, he's making these other 4. This is so he can actually hit that third base again.
Exactly. If you don't have Banelings of your own, your opponent's defensive Banelings will just always get you with that defender's advantage. The Overseer barely gets out. He sees the fire, though, and that would be worth giving his life for sure.
Absolutely. Now, we do have these Banelings walking towards that additional base. He's got to be careful. 3 of them are... Yeah, that's... Oh! Well, actually, that wasn't as bad as it could have been. It could have been worse.
That could have been a lot worse. And this group of Lings may be enough to force a cancel.
Oh!
He wasted the Baneling on the hatchery, though. That's exactly what he needed to stop Leenock here.
Yeah, he needed that. If he had that there, I think that he might force a cancel there.
Definitely with the next group of Lings he would have. Now, these viewers are going to be key in the defense here, but most important of all, there's 2 things. The Infestors are coming out right now for Sulky. That's really far ahead of his opponent. But if he doesn't kill this third base, economically, he's going to have less larvae. He's also going to have less mining.
Yeah. And by the way, during all this time, he just now started that additional base. Now he is going after this hatchery. Oh my God, good Banelings. Sulky definitely with some miscontrols so far this game. Not like I saw in the first. That Wolf.
Yeah, and now he's going to lose his own third hatchery. So even though Leenock is behind in tech, he's not that far behind. And I just don't see Sulky being able to really utilize those Infestors aggressively to attack his opponent. So Leenock should actually be able to catch up and close the gap here a little bit.
And Sulky only has 3 queens right now. So how does he take that third base in a timely manner, even though, I mean, Leenock is already mining from his third base, right? And he just forced the cancel on the third of Sulky, so there's no creep going down there. There's no anti-air other than any Infestors. If Leenock keeps good map awareness and spreads his mutas, there's no third base for a long time for Sulky.
That's absolutely true. And not only the third of his opponent, but he's using these mutas right now to clean up stray lings on the map as well. He's trying to hunt overlords. He's just doing as much damage as he can. And even if he doesn't go and attack the third, which would be fairly risky considering the infestors he'd have to split, even if he does attack the third, he knows his opponent's third is late. He's checked that, and that's a good knowledge that he has where he can send these mutas around to kill overlords instead, make sure they're alive, keep map control while he drones up, which is exactly what he's doing right now.
Yeah. Now, I really want to see him go over towards that base, because even though there's 6 infestors out, 6 infestors actually, you're going to have to at least burn a lot of energy to make the mutas run. You spread those mutas, like, for instance, spread 4 on corners of the hatch to start attacking. You're not going to be able to fungal them.
And you might even lose some of your infestors trying.
Sure, that definitely could happen, and you're probably going to end up throwing down some infested Terrans. They can run away from that at that point, but you want to start that early, because otherwise they're going to have the opportunity to spawn more units out there, get more queens. The creep is going to be more connected, so they can it will be easier for them to move around with their ground army. So I feel like, I see that Leenock has kept control of the map with these mutas, but he has missed that opportunity at least.
He's certainly missed that opportunity. And what he's going to do with these mutas now is to chase these lings away from the 4th base. But Sulky's lings here were not really designed to actually kill a hatchery, but spotting it was very important. A great fungal here by Leenock actually stops those lings from doing anything else. And Leenock has started to take a huge supply lead here. He's got a 16 drone lead. And like I said before, what does Sulky really do with these infestors? How can he even use them? Now he's got an even infestor count with his opponent. His 3rd base just popped up. He's so behind in every way, even though arguably the tech he chose may have been better. Losing his 3rd base and not forcing Leenock's cancel just puts him in such a bad spot here.
Yeah. He's actually, this is a little bit risky. If there was an infestor up here, that could have been bad because he was over the spore, but there's not, so it's paying huge dividends.
So much, yeah.
Wow, he's killed 10 drones now. Really well done.
That's something you never expect from a mutalist player. It's very rare someone actually goes for harassment here. And if he catches these roaches, he does. This is a great opportunity for Leenock to trade really well with the supply, even gets the infestors.
Yeah, he's got to be careful, though, because he's out of infestor energy, and the army is smaller down here. His infested Terrans not really doing that much. Will end up losing his roaches, but his mutas doing a great job going back for more harassment, drawing those units down. Totally worth the roaches to go do this. Now he just has to go into defensive mode.
Yeah, and it's going to be pretty easy for him to do so. The worker count is insane, 71 to 35. That's more than double. And he's not done here. The spore was moving, and this is all he has to do is defend this. He doesn't have a lot of infested energy for his infestors, though.
Yeah, he might have used a little bit too much energy there. So this actually gives Sulky a little chance, but his actual army size is so puny.
It's so small, and he doesn't have the concave. He can't break up that ramp. Yeah. I think Leenock may have done it.
I think it's already over, Wolf. This is bad news bears right now for Sulky. A beautiful fungal going down those hydras, reducing their already low life even more so. Sulky is continuing to produce. Leenock, he needs to make more units. Look at his bank. It's absolutely gigantic, but he has no larva.
Yeah,
that's actually the issue here. Leenock has really missed a ton of injects. He has no larva right now, but over 1K 600 in the bank.
You're so right. The muta's coming back now to defend. They're not going to actually do anything here. They're just going to tank some shots, I suppose. He needs more units. 19 roaches. Will they pop out in time? It looks like they will. As these infested Terrans fade away, this army is going to get a lot less scary.
Yeah, and even killing buildings right now, even the broodlings coming out are helpful at this point, because Leenock just needs to hold on. He's lost some crucial tech, sure.
But he's making 2 roach warrens right now.
Oh, God.
Just in case.
Yeah, why not?
Has he lost? I suppose he's lost his only roach warren, though, and that could become somewhat of a problem for him. He's going to need to buy more time.
Yeah, he's actually making 7-9 mutas now. But there's only a few hydras, and all the infested Terran energy is gone off these infestors. He's throwing out as many as soon as he gets them, but these 12 mutas will clean this up.
Yeah, he's just targeting down infestors right now with a small group of roaches, and he can't quite kill Leenock's buildings fast enough. The worker count still heavily in Leenock's favor, more than doubles his opponent. He just needs a few more seconds. The mutas are now out.
And the mutas are starting to target these down, and with just a handful of infested Terrans out there, the muta's going to start cleaning up everything. And if he can get those infestors as well, this is time for Sulky to run with those.
Yeah, he needs to get out now. He needs to get out. He needs to be droning up. I think he thinks he's going to try to end the game here. Lings are going to chase down the roaches as well here. And Leenock, even though he loses this hatchery, he's still got 2 additional bases to mine from right now.
I tell you, it's been a long time since we've seen someone go back into mutas, but it happened to be the right choice this time, and in fact, Sulky will I think he's still dead, man. He's done a ton of damage with this attack.
He hasn't made a single extra drone since that initial loss.
He's sitting at 30 drones against 53. He's killed off a good 20 drones of Leenox and a hatchery, but Leenox still on 3 bases with a vastly superior economy.
And that upgrade for the Lings allows them to sustain that Baneling. He's going to take out this Queen here and eliminate what little drones are left in Soulke's third base. He could even go for the Spore here. It looks like he's going to be cleaned up, though. Waited a little bit too long. And the Hydras are being taken out by Roaches. Now he can just spread his mutas here and end the game.
In fact, he's just going to target down Infestors as quickly as he possibly can. GG! I got to say something. I think Leenox played that fantastically, but his Larva Injects were off. If his Larva Injects were spot on that game, which of course is the hardest thing about Zerg, is playing well and hitting Larva Injects. But if they were, that would have looked like a walkover.
I absolutely agree. You know, if you've got the Larva Injects that you need to be hitting constantly, it's so hard to micro your mutas, so he actually prioritized his micro, I feel, a little bit there, and it paid off for him. Getting all those drones meant that his opponent was forced to attack him in the first place, but you're so right. If he had hit just a few more Larva Injects, that would have looked silly.
Yeah, like, literally if he hit, like, 2 more injects over the course of the game. 12 more Roaches during that battle when it was getting really low on Soulke units.
Especially before the Warren goes down.
Yeah, exactly. It would
have looked like a bear hitting a salmon out of the water, man. That's what it looked like.
It would have. But instead it looked like when they try to bite the salmon that's jumping out and the salmon just goes right back in, keeps going upstream.
Yeah, he was fumbling it a little bit.
But eventually the bear chased that salmon down. Maybe he didn't chase it down. Eventually that salmon reproduced and died itself.
Well, I guess no matter what, if you're a salmon, it's pretty tough life.
It can be a tough life,
You got to swim uphill just to die. It's rough.
That's right, man. I'm not swimming uphill. That's like handing me a shovel to dig my own grave. I don't need to mate wolf.
No, you certainly
not
don't.
As a salmon, at least.
Well, you've got 1 kid already. And Leenox versus Soulke here. Map number 2 is going to be on Cloud Kingdom. Soulke really needs to work on his micro a little bit more in the early game. That would have really helped him out.
He bungled. He did. I was bragging you how well he microed against Life, but he bungled that with those Banelings. He could have gotten a nice lead in the early game.
Yep. Well, we're going into game number 2 on Cloud Kingdom. Will Leenox 2-0 the series and advance to the round of 8? Or is Soulke going to tie it up? This is the GSL Code S with Wolf and Artosis.
Vegas.
And up here in the top right, I'm so not used to doing this, we have a player that just played phenomenally. He is
FXO, Lino.
He's making the 10th drone. He may temple. We're going to find out in a second. Nope, he's going for overlord.
I actually made a joke earlier. He missed the memo. No one ever sent it to him. That you're supposed to make your overlord on 9 because it's better.
It is actually better.
Bottom left, we have a great Zerg player. Not playing as well last game, though. He is.
웅진스타즈 솔키.
You know, it's in ZBZ, and a lot of mirror matchups are like this. I feel TVT is the most forgiving because you can come back easiest with your skill. But in ZBZ, when that third base is up for you and your opponent doesn't have a third base, you're basically just hoping you don't make a mistake and you've kind of got the game. There's so few things your opponent can actually do to catch up. A good Baneling hit works in the early and mid game to catch up or to get you back into the game. But when you're as behind as he was on a huge map, we're talking Abyssal City size. You can't walk across the map and do anything with your Infestor tech that you have.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? You're just behind, and a few key mistakes in the early game make Soulke look bad all game long, but you have to realize that he basically playing with one arm tied behind his back.
It's so well said, Wolf. Absolutely. And, you know, that's the problem. You know, people take little risks in the early game knowing that even if it doesn't kill their opponent right then, right? If you get that little edge, you can carry it the entire way.
Yeah.
And things as simple as, you know, Leenox denying a hatch of Soulke or Soulke not denying a hatch of Leenox, that should theoretically be denied based upon what Soulke's done here. by making that early batch of Lings and not even trying to take his third for so long.
Yeah,
that alone, that's not even like damage was done to him. That's more like he didn't do the damage that he took the risk to do.
Yeah, no return on investment there. An aggressive investment, but an investment just the same.
Look, if you're playing the stock market, you've got to be a bear or a... Oh, God, I don't even know what the other one is, right?
Or a salmon.
A bear or a salmon, dude.
I guess he was the salmon last game and gets slapped down.
No. All right, well, these builds a little bit different for these guys. Leenock is getting some nice early gas. So is Sulky, though. Leenock's a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this is like last game where it's two different builds, but they're going in the same direction.
Exactly. These builds are... I feel like Leenox is a little bit safer, of course. He's got a really fast evolution chamber going down, though. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Is he going to go for a fast +1 big attack?
You know what?
Or +1 Carapace for a Banelings?
I think it's possible that he'll go +1 Carapace. He was going +1 Carapace. I guess you know something about +1 Carapace I don't, because he was going for it earlier, and I was like, well, this is going to help out his Lings that he knows he's already going to make all game. No, it's +1 range. Okay, this is an old build.
Is this going to be the 2-base Roach attack?
Yeah, this is going to be a 2-base Roach +1 timing.
Yeah, because when you have +1, a lot of people know this already, but just for some of you who might not, if you have +1 your Roaches, you 2-shot a Ling instead of 3-shotting.
Yeah.
And that's so important when you fight with small Roach numbers early on in the game. And against Banelings, that's going to be great as well. Be able to take the Banelings out a little bit faster.
It's just that +1 really does make a huge difference. It's like the +1 attacks you see with Protoss against Zerg. They're out of style now, just as these are, because once you realize it's coming, it's not going to be that powerful. You're putting so much into this attack based upon one upgrade that's going to misrepresent how strong your army should be at this time.
Yeah.
But this is a super old build. I'm actually really excited to see Leenock mix this in.
Yeah, he needs to deny the Scout of the Evolution Chamber. That's basically the only thing that Sulky can get to help. And then if he does, he's going to make Spinecrawlers and a ton of Lings to hold. He's not going to be able to make his own Roaches. He's going for a fast lair back at home and getting his own second gas. 9 Roaches are now on the way. The only thing Leenock needs to do well right now is hide these Roaches as best as possible.
Yes.
As soon as they start walking across the map, there's no way he's going to be able to hide them, though, with the Overlord position Sulky has right now.
That's right, and this map is, you can walk across here quick enough that this is going to be an issue, because Sulky doesn't have the Roach Warren, which means he has to defend with Lings and with Spines. And as you mentioned, Wolf, 2-shotting Lings, the Lings are not going to be very useful.
Yeah.
So this is an issue, and he knows it. Now, watch, Sulky probably will throw up Spine Crawlers. He only started 1.
Now he's going to start more. I think he didn't have enough resources yet. He made the Lings first, which I actually like. The Lings can buy a little bit of time for you.
Yeah, and notice he's making some Banes. We oftentimes see people make a bunch of Banes and just hope they can hit clumped-up Roaches. By threatening to hit those clumped-up Roaches, sometimes you make them like back, let your Spines get more hits. We'll see if any of this works.
Well, that was a great hit on all those Roaches. Yeah. And you know what? This is a perfect timing by Leenock, but I think Sulky may have enough of the finishing Spinecrawlers here.
Yeah, you know what? Those Banelings actually did a great job. It's not too often you see Banelings do a great job. Now, that's good splitting from Leenock. Leenock pushing forward still.
But when you split, you waste time, you know? And that's exactly what allows these Spinecrawlers to finish.
He still has that Spinecrawler just because of the micro, the splitting. That is the only reason. Because the Banelings came out, it bought his Spinecrawlers more time to do damage. And in fact, they're still alive. And at this point, Leenock's in trouble.
Yeah, he's behind in tech. That's the most important part here, is the Spire is already going up for his opponent. It's going to be so hard for him to get a third base, harder than it was for Sulky last game even, especially with all the Lings that are out for Sulky right now. Leenock doesn't even have a Baneling Nest. He doesn't have speed. How is he ever going to be able to get a third? He's going to have to turtle here.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to lose a ton of drones to the Lings, to be perfectly honest.
He may indeed. He does not have many units right now, even though he does have a lot of drones. And a nice little surround going on. Some Lings going in the mineral line. I love this choice here by Sulky. Going to deal a lot of damage to Leenock. Leenock pulling his drones for now. A good choice as well, but the Lings did break through into the main base.
Yeah, just a few of them. He needs to get in there and help out with the Roaches. The +1 on the Roaches and the Queen actually helped a little bit here for the defense, as did the wall. Imagine if he didn't get that wall on the ramp, how terrible that situation would have been. I canceled there by Sulky.
Yeah.
Wanted to make something happen, it just was not going to be. But Leenock now actually takes a slight worker lead, and he's got the lair tech up now. But he still doesn't have any way of getting a third base. It's going to be still very tough for him. He needs to position his Roaches over there, and I feel he needs to probably get a Baneling Nest.
Yeah, you know, I think you're completely right on these things because with these mutas coming out, it's kind of like the reverse of last game where when can Leenock actually take another base? But what I really like out of Leenock, he's making additional queens right now. And when you see someone make a few additional queens, you walk towards that third base with 3 queens and 6 infestors, you can take that third base against Muta. You absolutely can. There's no way to split the Mutas just right to take all that out.
And if you hit the fungals right on the Lings are not going to be able to close the distance there.
Exactly, yeah.
So he decides to skip the Baneling Nest here, which is bold, but it's something that's going to work out for him, I feel, in the long run here. And Sulky hasn't taken his third base very quickly either, and that's something that Leenock can see right now with this Overseer, and that's going to make him feel pretty comfortable.
You know, that's actually, I want to say that's a fundamental mistake because Leenock is focused so heavily on roaches. What you're afraid of taking a third is speedlings, and he already had speedlings. He was the one putting on pressure with them, which meant the units of Leenock had to be home. Normally you start the third hatchery as your Spire is making, and the fact that he hasn't started until after the mutas have started, that is a little bit late. So even though he has some advantages, he's not necessarily getting exactly what he wants out of it.
Yeah, you're right. And I think, did he cancel speed? Can you check if Leenock canceled speed actually for his Lings? Because I think he may have done that, which would be pretty intelligent. No, he didn't.
He didn't.
He's going to keep it. A few Overlords going down here for Leenock. He didn't pull some of these back. That's a kind of a weird Overlord to lose against Mutas. But the third base is now finishing up for Sulky, but the Mutas here are not going to be able to accomplish too much.
Yeah, I think he might be a little bit nervous about any infestors that might be sitting around.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to have them get clumped up and caught. Now, Leenock is actually still making queens, which means he's going for a Queen Roach Infestor all-in. I was talking about this in one of the other games. It almost looked like someone was going to do it last time. But this is a powerful, and yeah, that goes on the queens as well, which is a big deal. And he's going to have superior Roach upgrades. He's going to have likely more Infestor than his opponent. Yeah, he has 4. Looks like that's probably all he'll go with. And 3 are about to pop for Sulky, which will have less energy. So this is very powerful. And with no spines up, I don't think Sulky has any... Okay, he does have spines up. Never mind.
Yeah, those are the spines from earlier.
Yeah.
But if Leenock attacks from the other angle, those are not going to be very useful, and he can catch reinforcements coming from the natural.
Yeah.
Leenock doesn't know, though, that that's the better angle of attack, and it's going to take way too long for his queens to redirect over there.
I think that's the big problem. His queens have already committed, but he has transfusions. With 6 queens, he already has at least 6 transfusions. It looks like he might have 7 or 8.
He drops a ton of infested Terrans here, wants to use his energy on that, and I like that choice because there's not that many roaches out for the Sulky.
Yeah, and look at this. The Ling's trying to catch the queens. That's a really smart move. Notice the mutas aren't here yet. He wants to kill off as much as he can before the mutas come in.
Yep, and +2 actually on those infested Terrans adds up pretty nicely here. And actually, I think he could just take out this third base, target it down, and walk home with his own third coming up right now.
I don't know that he will, but I think he could. Oh, God,
getting
look at
these infestors as well. This is great for Leenock. He's got that third hatchery going up.
And now Sulky is... I don't want to say he's dead, but he's in terrible, terrible shape right now.
He's trying to find an opening with these mutas. He can force a cancel on that hatchery, but does he want to do that? Transfuse is going down here again. I don't know if Leenock should actually commit into this choke point with all these infestors, even the spine crawler there.
Well, this is the one way for Sulky to actually get back to normal here. Some nice fungals go down. Those roaches so red already. It looks like Sulky is, in fact, going to wipe this all out, and Leenock has absolutely overextended himself.
Yeah, I don't think this is a good choice. I would have much rather seen him go home.
Yeah.
Now he's going to lose his third base to the mutas, probably.
Yeah, that's kind of rough. He's making right now. We have Leenock making another couple queens, trying to send them over, but he doesn't really have infestors. You know what they say, Wolf, about getting ahead. When you get ahead, you should go home and turtle because you're so far ahead, Leenock. What the hell? But he has made this mistake, and now this is like a really back and forth game. But here's the thing: even though these guys are making mistakes, they're playing so well at such a high level here. This is actually, they're making a lot of good moves despite these small mistakes that is allowing each other to come back.
That was a sick infestor save, by the way. Oh, that's how it goes. I guess that's how it is. Sucks to be that.
Sometimes that's how it goes, man. Yeah. That was the tasteless infestor right there.
Yeah, that's the broken rib infestor there.
Yeah.
By the way, this attack, because he just used all those fungals on those mutas, is going to be all the more scary for Leenock. He does have +2 over his opponent, and that advantage is just going to consistently stay there. Look at the +2 for Sulky. It just started. It's so far behind. That's so much time Leenock has. He's making these spine crawlers just being safe. And at this point, it's hard for me to even judge who's really actually ahead in this game. I feel like Sulky still has a slight edge, but he could throw it all away trying to attack up in